Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue Tasha's Cauldron of Everything by looking next at Artificer class features. Now, the Artificer, of course, been around in different sections. They finally put it all together right here, and they've got a lot of information. We'll look at all the class features first. We will look at all the specialist categories next. So starting right up here with the very beginning on this first page, they tell you masters of invention, artificers use ingenuity and magic to unlock extraordinary capabilities in objects. They see magic as a complex system waiting to be decoded and then harnessed in their spells and inventions. So it's sort of like artificers see magic as a puzzle, something they need to solve. Artificers use a variety of tools to channel their arcane power. To cast a spell, an artificer might use alchemist supplies to create a potent elixir. So look at that, elixirs are one option. Use calligrapher supplies to inscribe a sigil of power on something like armor, or tinker's tools to craft a temporary charm. So three different ways right there. The magic of artificers is tied to their tools and their talents. So they tell you also that artificers can be found in many worlds in D&D. They mention Forgotten Realms, they mention Greyhawk, and also in this city of Sigil. So there's just a little intro information made available to us. So next here they give us this Artificers table. It has a lot of the information you always want to see, especially when they're a spellcaster. So there's your levels 1 through 20. The proficiency bonuses are as you would expect. And look at all the class features. Look at how there's an item on almost every single level, and a few of them might even have two here. So a lot of things available. We're going to look at infusions. Now here's something new and available to the artificers. You notice they can have up to a dozen of them. So start with 4, not just 1, but 4. Infused items can be up to 2. So they got a large number of infusions known, and then item list is pretty good, 2 to 6. And you'll see that it can even add to their saving throws later on. That's going to be huge. And here you can see their spells with cantrips and spell levels 1st through 5. They only get up to 5th level spells, but they do have some good spells, and these artificers can be good fighters. For a quick build, they tell you want to always put your highest ability score into intelligence. It makes sense when we look at that with spells and some other abilities too. Follow that up with con or dex, depending on how you want to play the character. And of course, the guild artisan background will probably be the best. When you look at hit points, they got D8, so pretty good on the hit point side. Looking at proficiencies, they start off being able to use light armor, medium armor, and shields. And one of the specialists can even use heavy armor. So you're looking at some good AC for these guys. They're limited to simple weapons, so that limits them right there. When it comes to tools, they can use thieves' tools. So they're going to be very handy when a rogue's not around. Tinker's tools are one type of artisan's tool. Saving throws based on con and intelligence, and skills are listed here. And notice they even mention the secrets of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse and can be opened up with these artificers. Starting equipment, any 2 simple weapons, or a light crossbow and 20 bolts, your choice of studded leather or scale mail, thieves' tools, and a dungeoneer's pack. You can take the gold down here if you want, and they tell you if you want a multi-class into artificer, going to need at least a 13 intelligence. So nothing surprising about that. Follows along with what we see with other multi-classing. So looking here at class features. Level 1, they get this magical tinkering. It says you've learned how to invest a spark of magic into mundane objects. So you can take just these ordinary whatever objects and give them a magical ability. To use this ability, you must have thieves' tools or artisan's tools. Again, these guys are craftsmen here. You then touch a tiny non-magical object as an action and give it one of the following magical properties of your choice. Now here's some objects some choices which you can have your object perform. Could shed light up to 10 feet, or when it's tapped by a creature, it could emit a recorded message up to 6 seconds long. Third option, the object continuously emits your choice of an odor or a nonverbal sound, wind, waves, chirping, and whatever. Next option, a static visual effect can appear on the object's surface. This could be a picture, up to 25 words of text, lines, shapes, or a mixture of those elements. After that, they tell you the chosen property lasts indefinitely. So look at that, no time limit. Tells you under that you can bestow magic on multiple objects, touching one object each time you use this feature, and your intelligence modifier depends, it will be what depends on how many objects you can use at once. Here they talk about spell casting, which is gained at level 1 as we saw before. They talk about tools required. You must have a spell casting focus. And look at this, thieves tools and artisans tools can be used, and then they tell you after you gain the infuse item feature at level 2, you can also use any item which you've infused as a spell casting focus. You got several options there. There's your cantrips. You'll start with 2. We'll look at those in just a second. And when you look at preparing and casting spells, that follows along with whatever you see with other spell casters. Nothing different or surprising there. So up here where they talk about using your spell casting ability. This, as you would expect, for your spell save DC, you get 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Spell attack modifier will be your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier, and of course throw in your die roll. Ritual casting, you'll see they have that on some spells, and here's the Artificer spell list. They have a pretty good lengthy list, at least on the lower level spells. Look at all the cantrips. And you can see some of these which have come about in adventures not too long back, like Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade. Those would be good for somebody who wants to get in the middle of combat. There are some of the oldies like Firebolt, Light, and so on down the line. They've added Lightning Lure, Magic Stone, Sword Burst are all good ones. There's Thunderclap at the end. With first level spells, they start with Absorb Elements. That could be handy there. You got Catapult. You've got Cure Wounds, so you can help with the healing in the party. That gives these guys a lot of versatility when you look at all the spells that they have. False Life, Featherfall, Grease, Jump, Snare, Tasha's Caustic Brew. A lot of others are available. At second level, here's some good ones like Blur, Dark Vision, Heat Metal, Enlarge, Reduce, Invisibility. Those are always handy. You can see Lesser Restoration, Magic Weapon, Pyrotechnics. Skywrite is always a fun one. Spider Climb, and a Web spell. That's an oldie and a great there. Third level, Blink, Catnap, and so on down the line. Flame Arrows, Haste, always a good one to have, and Tiny Servant is something new. Fourth level, Elemental Bane, Freedom of Movement, Stone Shape, Stone Skin, and Summon Construct are just some of the good ones. Fifth level, Bigby's Hand, you got Greater Restoration, Creation, Wall of Stone, so lots of good spells in their list. Infusing items, now at second level, they will get this infuse item ability. It says you gain the ability to imbue mundane items with certain magical infusions, turning those objects into magic items. You make something magical out of something that wasn't. With the infusions known, when you gain this feature, pick 4 Artificer infusions to learn, choosing from the table, which we'll see further ahead. You learn additional infusions of your choice when you reach certain levels in the class, as shown in the table. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of your Artificer infusions you learned with a new one. So that's good. You can swap them around when you decide one's not usable and you need another one. Infusing an item. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical object and imbue it with one of your Artificer infusions, turning it into a magic item. You pretty much just create magic items at will. An infusion works only on certain kinds of objects as specified in the infusion description. If the item requires attunement, you can attune yourself to it the instant you infuse the item, so no additional time needed. If you decide to attune the item later, you must do so using the normal processes just as it's always been. And then right here, we get even more great items as you go up in level. So they tell you also with the infusions here that it lasts indefinitely, no time limit, and you can infuse more than one object at the end of a long rest. Now at level 3, you get Artificer Specialist. So now you want to pick your specialist category that you want to follow. That could be Alchemist, Armorer, Artillerist, or Battlesmith. We're going to look at those in another video. This is going to take forever. Your choice grants you new features at levels 5, 9, and 15. Also at third level, you get something called the right tool for the job. You've learned how to produce exactly the tool you need with thieves' tools or artisans' tools in hand. You can magically create one set of artisans' tools in an unoccupied space within 5 feet. This creation requires 1 hour of uninterrupted work, which can coincide with a short or long rest. Level 4, Ability Score Improvement. You'll get these Ability Score Improvements at levels 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19. And of course, as you would expect, you can increase one ability score by your choice of 2, or you could increase 2 ability scores by 1, however you want. And of course, you pick whatever scores you feel like. As normal, you can increase the score above 20. At level 6, Tool Expertise. Your proficiency bonus is now doubled for an ability check when you make use of your proficiencies with a tool. So think about when you use tools, thieves' tools, whatever, you want to disarm a trap, you get to double your ability check at level 6. That's very big. There's not a rogue around, that's going to be handy. 7th level, Flash of Genius. This is a great one. You've gained the ability to come up with solutions under pressure. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet makes an ability check or a saving throw, either one, you can use your reaction, always great to use a reaction, to add your intelligence modifier to the roll. So let's say you got an intelligence modifier of +3. When you or an ally within 30 feet makes an ability check or a saving throw, you can add that modifier to it. So that could be very handy at many different times throughout the game. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you'll get all those back after a long rest. Now we're just up to level 10, Magic Item Adept. You've achieved a profound understanding of how to use and make magic items. You can now attune up to 4 magic items at once, and if you craft a magic item which has a rarity of common or uncommon, it takes 1/4 of the normal time and half as much gold. Level 11, Spell Storing Item. How handy are items that let you store up spells? A ring of spell storing was always one of the big things that casters have always wanted in D&D. So at level 11, you can now store a spell in an object. Whenever you finish a long rest, touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you use as a spell casting focus, any of those 3, and store a spell in it, choosing a 1st or 2nd level spell from the Artificer spell list that requires 1 action to cast. So now you're going to be able to cast additional spells with that. At level 14, Magic Item Savant. So now you can attune up to 5 magic items at once, and look at what else goes with it. You ignore all class, race, spell, and level requirements on attuning or using a magic item. So you ignore all those restrictions on class, race, spell, and level. So now that opens up a whole lot more magic items to them. Level 18, Magic Item Master. You can now attune up to 6 magic items at once. And at level 20, you gain +1 bonus to all saving throws per magic item you're attuned to. So that can give you a huge plus to your saving throws when you get up to the higher levels. This is another great one. If you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use your reaction to end one of your infusions, causing you to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. So that right there will keep you in the game. Instead of dropping you down to 0 and waiting for help, you're still in it. You could heal yourself, retreat, cast a spell, attack with a weapon, whatever you feel like doing. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.